back to one of our top stories this morning, and the US President Barack Obama has announced his support for same-sex marriage. North America correspondent Jane Cowan joins us now from Washington. Good morning, Jane. What exactly has the president said?
Hi, Karina. Well, this is historic. This is the first time a US president sitting in the White House has said something like this. He is saying that he believes it should be legal for gay couples to get married. And in explaining how he's come to this decision, he talked about his family and friends, people he knows, people who work for him, who are in committed monogamous relationships. He also mentioned US soldiers who put their lives on the line for the country, but then are unable, not allowed by that same country, to marry the person they love. And he also mentioned his daughters, Malia and Sasha, saying that they have parents who are same-sex couples and that his daughters just can't get their heads around why those parents of their friends should be treated any differently. So he's kind of hinting at the generational shift that is underway here. But let's have a look at the key part of the interview.
At a certain point, I've just concluded that for me personally, it is important for me to go ahead and affirm that I think same-sex couples should be able to get married.
That's the President Barack Obama. Jane, why now, and why is the president doing this all of a sudden?
Well, this is a position, you have to say, that the expectation was Barack Obama would come to from the safety of a second term. But this week he'd come under new, fresh pressure after the Vice President Joe Biden went on television over the weekend and unexpectedly said that he was absolutely comfortable with men marrying men, women marrying women. And that kind of put the administration much further out than it had been, because up until now, of course, Barack Obama has said that his views on this topic are evolving, that he does support civil unions and equal rights for same-sex couples, but he's stopped there. And he admitted in this interview too, Karina, that he'd hesitated at the word marriage because he was sensitive to all the import that word carries for a lot of people about it being between a man and a woman, a special relationship. And he said that he had thought for a long time that civil unions maybe would be sufficient. It's also worth noting that he had a series of events already in the diary for next week where he was going to appear on the same stage as some important lesbian and gay donors. This is an important constituency for Barack Obama, a big part of his support base, and that would have been extremely awkward. He also would have been harangued endlessly by the White House press pack, and by doing it this way, by hand-picking a US network, sitting down in a controlled environment, he really gets to kind of take the lead back.
And so how is this likely to play politically, given that it's an election year?
It is complicated. This is a big risk for Barack Obama. National opinion polls do show that opinion is weighting slightly in favour now of gay marriage, that the American public has shifted on this. But a gay marriage is something that is governed by state laws, and only a handful of American states and also the District of Columbia here in DC have so far approved gay marriage. Others, a series of others, including North Carolina just yesterday, which is a potential swing state, have actually moved to strengthen bans on gay marriage. So it is still very much a contested issue, and you can say that this will certainly energise Barack Obama's base and perhaps send out gay and lesbian voters who might otherwise have stayed at home, so it'll be good for turnout. But on the flip side, Karina, it also energises the base of Barack Obama's opponent, Mitt Romney, the Republican contender, who is anti-gay marriage, anti-civil unions, and perhaps evangelical Christian voters who've until now been perhaps doubtful of how conservative Mitt Romney was, will now be seeing him as the clear choice on this issue. So it's a risky choice, and Barack Obama is receiving some credit now for having gone out on a limb. In the bigger picture, it's the New York Mayor, Michael Bloomberg, who has said that any time a president throws his weight behind a civil rights cause, it ultimately succeeds. So it's a very powerful symbol that he's sending, a signal, even though he is not actually proposing any overarching federal law to override the states or any change to the Constitution.
Jane Cowan in Washington will keep across the story over the course of the morning.